Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Trisbrina Show. Hello, hello. Let's talk about following the heart. Let's just jump right in.
We thought it would be a perfect evening and a perfect show to talk about the heart because Valentine's Day in just a few days, and so many people are talking about love, and then there are hearts on everything. My mom is downstairs right now making wreaths with hearts, right?
There is a heart fest going on. And welcome, sweet friends. Hello, Betty. Hello, Debbie. Hello, Christina. Hi, Joanna. Elise is here. Yes, a lot of heart in the house, indeed. We want to dive into the heart. I mean, as everything at the root of what we do, who we be. Our business has a tagline, be love, serve love. So we love talking about love. And we're going to talk not only about the heart as an organ, but we're going to talk about the heart as an energetic center, and we're going to talk about the heart as a way of living. I think it was Grandma who told us, during difficult times, son, girl,
Follow your heart.
follow your heart. Trust your heart.
What should I do? Just follow your heart.
It's in every Hallmark movie, right? It's at the heart of it. And yet it's so
right there,
true.
even there, right? That's saying it's at the heart of it.
Heart, heart, heart. And when we were putting together tonight's show, our show flow, we started going down a path of all the things we've learned in our lives about following the heart. And yet that simple adage is so much harder to follow than it can sound. And it almost sounds, I wouldn't say trite, but kind of cliche, right? Follow your heart, trust your heart. And yet there's so much power and truth in being able to do it.
It could almost sound like it doesn't really matter. Just do what you feel like.
Yeah, follow your vibe.
But if you think about that, just do what you feel. Maybe we all should do more of that. Maybe we should all tune into something, say, how do I feel about this? Right? That intuition that activates where you have this knowingness, something doesn't feel right. Right? We say that, I don't know, something about him just doesn't feel right. And then you find out why 6 weeks later, and you wish you had listened to your heart.
So we'll dive into some of the things that we've learned about this beautiful heart center and the intelligence that lies within. We call it the brain of your being. Along the way, we also want to point out that we understand that during challenging times, during difficult times, we try to think our way out of the box. We try to figure it out with our thinking mind.
Logical.
And we're not against that. We think that the brain is very important. But when the brain and the heart are on the same team, I don't know if you saw the little picture that we posted earlier, but it was a heart holding the hand of the brain and walking the brain. And it said, follow me, little buddy. And the heart is a guidance. And we know that so many of you watching this, like, we're preaching to the choir. So let's all just have a love fest today about how beautiful it is to listen to this thing. And then how do you get past the gatekeeper and back into the heart? Because that seems to be the crux of the matter. We get disconnected from this and we start thinking our way, and we can get ourselves in a bit of a trouble.
Yeah, because for me, the brain is so amazing, right? As a processor, as a computer with everything it does. And I love learning, I love creating, but the inspiration for those thoughts and the inspiration for what I'm creating is so much more satisfying and so much more beautiful when it comes from the heart. And I don't just mean like, oh, something I love. Like that can sound so weak. I mean, when the heart intuits this greater intelligence, right? When the heart, like the brain says, oh, I just thought of something. And the brain would say, I just felt something. But those two need to go together, right? So like I've had some situations in my life that were very scary, physically life-threatening. And fortunately for me, I felt something isn't right. Something isn't right. Felt it. There was no reason to feel it. There was no data. The brain could not have said that. There was no data, no logic at all. But something in me was like, something doesn't feel right. And that to me is where the intelligence of the intuition, that field that connects with a timeless place that lets us sense things that aren't physical matter yet and can inform the brain, hey, Sabrina, get the hell out of here.
I love that.
Right. And then what does the brain do? The brain is so smart. It's like, should I run? Should I get in the car? Should I take the stairs? What's the best action to take? Like the brain can figure all those things out. But I feel like the decision maker is my heart. I'm always going to end up in the best place.
Let's look at the pathway of energy for a moment from the perspective of the yogic or qigong traditions. So I know that sounds like a big jump, but it'll make sense. So if you look at a body and you look at the base or the bottom of the body and you envision from the root energy going all the way up to the top of the head.
The spine or the feet?
Yeah, well, you can say through the legs, through the feet, but the root being the base underneath the perineum, all the way up your spine. Well, think about the journey that the energy has to travel. It's got to go through the core of the body, right? And there's an energy center there we call the power center. And then it gets up to the heart. And then it moves from the heart to the head. And so we've got body, heart, brain, or head in the equation. And so what we found over the years is if you could create a coherence between the brain and the body and bring it into the heart, you had this incredible marriage of wisdom, almost like three brains working for you. A lot of times people will talk about this lower energy area and they'll say, trust your gut. Listen to your instincts, right? Center. So your body has an incredible knowledge. I won't use the word intuition because you can mix them up a little bit. So think of that as that gut instinct, that sense. And when your body is open and calibrated,
it feels like the animal to me.
Yeah.
Like the gut feeling of the
it's
animal.
It's more primal. Mm-hmm. But there's a knowledge there. It's a survival instinct. Now you can either be triggered by it and spike your whole system and shut yourself down and block your heart and block your brain because of fear, or you could use it as a listening device, which some of us have learned how to do. Oh, I noticed something. You were saying that. I feel something. There's a book that I've referenced over the years, The Gift of Fear by Gavin de Becker, and he interviewed many, many women who've been assaulted and tried to figuring out, well, what point did they know that something bad was going to happen? And almost every single person that he interviewed said, I didn't know. And what they ended up finding through a series of questions was their brain got in the way and overrode what they felt. They did sense something. They did notice something, and they didn't trust it. You've had that. Mm-hmm. Oh, silly Sabrina, don't trust this. But there's a knowing there.
Right. Like I was telling Tristan earlier, I think one of the greatest gifts that I appreciate in my life is that I know that I'm bigger than my thoughts. So in that moment where I was feeling something isn't right, something isn't right.
Feeling.
And the brain goes, oh, come on, everything's fine. Don't be such a drama queen. I can say, that may be true, but I'm feeling this thing. And it can go, it's not just danger. Like we had a student years ago, Pierre, and he was in this contest and he really wanted to win. I think it was $100,000, right?
It was, yeah, I think that's how much it was.
And he kept saying, like, I knew it. I just felt it. I was going to win. I was going to win. And it's like, well, what are his chances of winning? There's a whole lot of entries. And he won. And he just kept saying, I just knew it. I just felt it.
Right.
You don't feel those things in your brain, right? You feel them in your heart, and that emotion helps your brain to have thoughts that are in alignment with that outcome that you want. That's the connection as far as trying to apply visualizations and affirmations. You need them speaking to each other. You need to have that feeling that helps you have those great thoughts, and those great thoughts that help you to have that feeling. They go together like a Valentine.
I love that. So feeling, think of feeling as awareness through the body, right? So you have thought, and then thought drops into the body and it becomes feeling. We might say emotion. And we're going to talk about emotions and show you something cool within our map today that might bring some light bulbs to you. So let's say that now that you're taking care of your body and you're learning how to calibrate your nervous system, and the information, of course, between the brain and the body. And you're not in the reactive state, and your body's more calm and nourished by, let's say, energy work, because obviously that's our jam, Qigong and energy work. So Pierre, for example, he was doing a lot of energy work and meditations with us. And so his body was becoming more aligned, more coherent between the brain and the body signals.
He was moving a lot.
But then here's what happens. When you get your breath and your body and the lower energy centers back online and they're starting to develop this feeling of flow, the heart says, oh yeah, baby. I love when you're feeling like this. I'm going to open up. It's just like another relationship going on, because your heart says to your body, when it's in survival instinct or fear or worry, it says, I'm not going to open. Remember I talked about energy going up? I'm not opening the gate to here. You're scary. You're off. No, I don't trust. But you soothe and calm and get into a coherent body. Your heart says, come on in. And
that
the energy goes
like
up.
That would feel like kindness, appreciation, compassion, gratitude, awe.
Those are the feelings that start to come.
Patience.
Birth from the heart. So the heart is now willing to receive this energy. And if you know what you're doing with energy work, and you know, we all have some good tools around here. You know how to breathe and lift it up and nourish it and orbit and all that cool stuff. And if you don't, stick around, we'll teach you. But now as this energy starts coming up, guess what happens? The heart, which we call the brain of your being, it informs the brain in the head, and it says, hey, pal, follow me, little buddy. Follow me, little buddy. And if you're willing to listen, to be receptive, to be sensitive, you'll be able to follow your heart. You'll be able to hear the wisdom of your soul center. And that is the most beautiful thing. When you're tapped into your inner guidance, I mean, raise your hand if you know what we're talking about. When you've been able to get that coherence between, we call it body, mind aligned, when you bring everything back into balance and you have access to this incredible knowing.
Yeah. Because sometimes my brain, if I'm feeling frustrated, if I'm seeking a solution, if I'm, especially let's say in business, if I'm trying to figure something out, or if I'm working with someone that is frustrating and triggering me, I can try and try and try, and it's never easy. It's never easy. But if I can just take a moment and, for me, almost breathe through my heart, because that helps me remember that I'm part of a team, awesome. Right? The team of the brain. Breathe through the heart.
Yes. Then
very quickly you can take a break, and because you're feeling different feelings, you're going to find different solutions. The good solutions hide when your heart is closed, but you can't see everything. When we're only using our brain, it's like we're blind to half of what is there, right? Like when somebody, one of my friends growing up, she had something and she couldn't see on the left side neglect. And so she was missing that. She couldn't see anything on her left side. And that's sort of the way it is when just through our brain. What is that TV show where they're all brainiacs? It's really funny. They're all
somebody
nerds.
Here will help us.
It's been on for 200 years.
And I don't watch it enough to know the name of it.
But you don't have the vision. You don't see all of the possibility, right? And I'm certainly not saying just go around as a feely, wheely, fuzzy, buggy wug, right? No, use that, hold that brain's hand, because as you feel something, you have this genius with you. Hey, I'm feeling this. What should we do? Right? It's that partnership that is so beautiful that Source has given us, that is part of being a human, is that we have both of these resources. How beautiful, right? We have this genius brain, this incredible computer, and then we have this intuition and this feeling that we get to feel and think.
By the way, it's the Big Bang Theory. Somebody got it first.
Okay.
Thank you. I love
my hint was good.
Yeah, the brainiacs. I love what Sabrina said about breathing through the heart. So a technique that we can all work on is, rather than just trying to clear your mind, because that's sometimes a little bit difficult. It's like trying to lift yourself up by your own bootlaces. You know, you can only get up for a second. Bootstraps, not laces.
Shoelaces.
Got it. Bootstraps. Anyway, that's hard to do sometimes, to go through the brain. So we always say, through the body. So what you could do, move your body, do some qigong tapping, but get into the breath in the lower belly area, the deep diaphragmatic breathing, and move from that breath into what Sabrina said, breathing at the heart, and just feel that in and out flow. But start at the belly first. Why? Because if you can calm the nervous system, and if you've been on our recent Trisbrina show last week, we talked about the longest nerve in the body, the vagus nerve, and how it flows down through the solar plexus, through the diaphragm, and that deep diaphragmatic breathing calms and tones that nerve. It gets you out of stress, sympathetic nervous system, puts you into that flow, that parasympathetic. Well, now the body is in a healthier, balanced state, and the heart says, all right, let's let the energy come up. Well, and bring that energy into the heart and just start breathing here. And notice what happens. The art of listening. So your brain kind of settles down in here.
Yeah.
And it starts to, it's like that we keep doing this all the time, right?
Yeah.
As you come in here, your awareness drops in here.
Yep. Even your heartbeat changes, though.
Yes, the rhythm of the heartbeat.
The rhythm of the heart, all the readings of the heart.
Talk a little bit about the heart as an organ. Did you guys know that there are neurons, just like in the brain? There's a similar feature happening in the heart where neurons in the heart wire together. And your heart starts developing these patterns of information that it's sending up to the brain. So the more you practice this, the more you can train your heart to be receptive for the good emotions. I was saying to Sabrina this morning, you can tell based on your emotions how close or far away you are from your heart center based on your emotions. So remember, emotions, the way we teach about emotions, is a language that you use to read your energy state. So if you're in anger, your energy's split, skewed, pinched off. If you're in, sadness, depression, guilt, blame, all that negativity, you're definitely not in your heart center, right? You're fried up here. Your nervous system, your body is jacked
Insecurity.
up. Yeah, all of that. So that means that we really need some body-mind align. We got to do some clearing, some releasing, and get back to the heart center, the heart hero. All right, so let's tell a story. Who's got a great story about when they listened to their heart over their head, or maybe there was a marriage between the head and the heart, because there's a coherence that happens between the brain and the heart, and that's what you're really after is, I don't know, you guys have heard, right? Like, allow the head and the heart to become one. It's heart-mind. Well, when you're in that beautiful coherent state, you know what to do, when to do it, how to do it. We've got so many different stories we've shared over the years with you guys. I'd love to know if you're here live, if there's something that happened for you where you know, I was listening to this first, more than just this. And you got guidance. You saw something, you knew something, you intuited something, as you said.
And you can practice listening for me, and I'm a goofball, so this might be too goofy for some of you, but I want to trust and not second guess. Like, that's something that I really, really love. That when I feel something, to move in that direction without, then the voice comes in and goes, are you sure? You sure you should have gone left? Maybe you should have gone right. Maybe. It's like, I want to feel and take action without second guessing. And then the next feeling will determine the next action. So I play games with myself. I play games with myself driving, or even writing an email. I've told you this, choosing a font size, choosing a pixel size, just like, how many pixels should I make this picture? 383. Okay. And it's going to be 383 because I'm practicing what felt right. And my intuition is pretty darn good, like crazy good sometimes. I don't even know that it's intuition. It's just in sync in a really beautiful way. So if you think that, oh, I don't have any intuition, well, you do. You're just not aware of when you're listening to it. But you can play little games like that with yourself and practice saying no to the one that second guesses you all the time.
Mm.
Instead of, because you can't go back and change it, right? Let's say you're driving. You say, "Oh, I can turn left or right or straight. I can get to the store in any of these ways." Well, it feels good, right? And you turn right. Why waste your life after you turn that steering wheel thinking, "Should I have gone left? Should I have gone straight?" What are you going to do? You already turned, right? You're just wasting your freaking life. That's what I say to myself. You're going to waste your life right now, Sabrina? How about just feeling what is the next good thing you would like to do? Right? So the next thing is, would you like to turn around? But it comes from a different place. It's what feels right rather than getting busy in the brain that isn't connected to a feeling. It's connected to the past where I did something wrong, and maybe there's like a subconscious belief or a little bully, or I don't want to be stupid again, those kind of thoughts. So you develop this clarity of which, because your feelings, how do you read a feeling? A lot of times you read a feeling by saying what it feels like, which then becomes a thought, right? In order to interpret a feeling, I'm going to use my brain and I'm going to explain it by processing a thought. Like when you are sharing, like let's say you have this amazing idea that comes to you like through intuition and it comes into your heart, but the way that you share it with someone, the brain has to be involved. The brain is the great partner that helps you explain it in a way that people say, and that's where they work together so beautifully. So then interpreting, well, what is coming from my heart? Well, if it feels like kindness and gratitude and love and compassion and patience and joy and deep care, those came from the heart. If it feels like despair and anger and competition and not
Worry.
enoughness and worry, that's programming. That's, I'm so afraid that I'm going to feel what I felt before, so I'm out of here and the brain's just going to take care of it. That's, I think that's like conquering that. Conquering's not a good word.
Releasing.
No, fine tuning that relationship is a lifetime. And I think it's the way that the soul evolves is through some of that type of conversation, because you're choosing who you are on repeat and why you're here and what you stand for.
I see some beautiful posts in here. We see you, Barb Gibson. Hello, my dear. She said that heart center, that knowing saved my life. And she said, I love, it just went down a moment, but I think she said something that I love allowing my heart to guide my mind. We've got folks on 3 different platforms with us today, which is wonderful. We see some of you coming in from YouTube as well. YouTube. Dana says, great topic choice. Thank you, Dana.
I like this. I'm getting better at being tuned in all the time. Once when I was driving years ago, I had the feeling just to slow down. And then when I did, I saw that there was a traffic cop with his radar on. I love that because sometimes,
that's Christine.
Sometimes
Hi, Christine.
We think like, oh, my intuition only talks about very important things. No, everything's important and everything is fun, right? It's just being like tuned in to the game. That happens to me too all the time. What usually happens to me, and this makes no sense at all, is I'll think I see cop lights in the car. Like I'll think, did I just see cop lights? And there weren't any. And then like a minute later, there'll be a police officer who I respect very much on the road giving tickets. But I always like, I bet 10 times I've like thought that I saw, I never even told you that. Like the red flashing lights. I think I see him in the car for a second out of the corner of my eye. And I haven't gotten, have I gotten a ticket since you've known me?
No.
Yeah.
She knows stuff. Miss Bonnie, hi Bonnie. She says, I changed my major in college based on my heart.
Oh, wow.
I was working at the school's child care center. An interaction I had with an angry 4-year-old guided me to change my major from business to education in a heartbeat. And I love that because look at the heart-centric life you're living, and you touch so many hearts because you're following your heart. I think it's the wisest decision we all can make. A Satori, the name of our company, and what we teach and preach all day, every day, is to listen to this heart center, so much so that it informs the brain. That's what we would call an upload, that there's this incredible soul knowledge within you. We all came here with great wisdom, and it's this art of unlocking through practice and allowing it to rise up, and you have an aha. Satori is like a one sudden moment of massive clarity, an awakening moment where you just know something. You intuit it, you know it. It informs your brain, and it may take a minute before you can put it in words, but your whole body has a feeling and you have an understanding at a level that's beyond thinking.
Mm-hmm.
And what you want to do is live into those satori on a regular basis. You don't want to just have one.
Yep.
You want it to become a way of life. That's
Yeah.
why we created a method around this.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to show you something really cool on the screen for a moment that will show you how we look at emotions. Emotions are in the body. They start from thoughts, things you're perceiving, things you're intuiting, things that are either being informed from the brain or from external, which is for most people, it's external programming that's got them in. This is a guidance system, but it's not their true guidance system. And so what we like to say is start listening to this beautiful body temple, and you'll see this infinity in a moment. And not that it necessarily flows this way through you, because we've created a mental construct so that we can teach. But you will see the three energy centers. It's turned sideways. So it's like a human body turned sideways. And notice how the energy flows through, and how energy is your emotion, and pay attention to the center.
And
watch.
And one of the reasons that this is so valuable is, yes, so that you have a happier life, but it's also really tied into your health and your healing, and why some people get stuck with something chronic in their body because the brain is keeping it chronic, and it's hard to feel the healing. So when you're coming from your heart and you're feeling those feelings that we talked about of the heart of kindness and gratitude and appreciation and love, that is an environment for health and wholeness. Whereas without the heart, when the heart is closed and we're in the anger and jealousy or boredom, victim, all of those, that's very stress and creates an environment for sickness and for injuries not to heal. So this isn't just really about, how you feel as you frolic through life. It's about the whole package, which this is going to show you.
So we'll pop this on the screen here so that you can understand a little bit, maybe deeper, what we've been talking about tonight. So in this map, this Satori map, this is the heart center right here. So if you were to flip this on a 90-degree flip, so that this mind here was sitting up at the top, you would see, if you bring all of this together, these right here, this would be your brain area. And this here would be your belly, okay? But again, this is a mental construct. So this infinity flow is how we teach people to pay attention to their emotions. And so the further away you are from your heart center, the more disrupted, if you're out here, if you're off, you're in emotions of pain, sadness and grief and hate and whatever. But the more you can practice going through your body, aligning yourself, adjusting your brain waves, getting yourself back into coherent state within the breath, moving back into your heart center starts to inform your conscious and subconscious mind of its wisdom. So this is our body-mind aligned system to create energetic flow. So all you want to do is listen to your emotional, energetic flow to find out where you're at. And so if you're not feeling good in your body, in your thoughts, in your mind, then what's happening is you want to, by the way, get back to that white screen. That's before all things. That's the ultimate Wuji.
Let's read a couple more.
Susan says, this is over 30 years ago. Let me just close that loop there. So when you're thinking about emotion, think in terms of energy flow.
Yeah.
And then ask yourself, what is the emotion trying to tell you? And see if you can somehow move the energy, move the chi through that emotion back to the heart center. Okay? So we talked a little bit about really nurturing the lower energetic centers so that you can get back here. So just kind of take some notes on that because it's a really big deal when it comes to healing your body and your mind. Susan said, this is over 30 years ago, but I almost bought a place and I really loved it. And I even bought a piece of furniture, but I had a terrible feeling after I shared it with my family. Anyway, I did not buy it. And later I found out it could not be rebuilt on. Something happened. It could not be rebuilt if something happens to it. It had a spring that was rushing under
Oh
it. I found out a
no.
couple, they never they never sold it. They just rented it. I think a
Wow.
couple never sold it. They rented it. Elise said, thank you for sharing that, Susan, by the way. That's the power of listening to that inner knowing.
Mm-hmm.
Elise says, I listened to my heart recently when I left my position at the music director as the music director at church. I wasn't lit up doing it anymore. I just want to say lit up is a great way of asking yourself, is this bringing my energy up or is it bringing my energy
Yeah.
down? Which is your
Mm-hmm.
heart letting you know whether it's aligned to you or not,
Yeah.
right? She
Mm-hmm.
says, I wasn't lit up anymore doing it and I was really unhappy. So she said, I felt like I should stay,
Oh yeah.
should
Oh, I have
stay
that.
because I knew that it would upset a lot of people if I left, right?
Mm-hmm.
We get that. But I chose to listen to my heart. And when I did that, joy began to flood into my life.
Yeah.
Beautiful
That's
shares.
so
Thank you.
beautiful. That reminds me of, maybe, well, just gonna talk about myself. Staying in relationships
Mm,
longer than I needed to.
mhm.
Looking back, I believe I shouldn't have any regrets. Everything is absolutely perfect to bring me to the now. But I know that I stayed in some relationships when they weren't necessarily the best thing for me. They made it really hard to be who I wanted to be, and maybe I wasn't being treated with kindness, and it was a lot of work. But it was easier to stay in it than to change. And then I'm sure a lot of people who have gone through divorce know, like, oh man, this relationship is really not making me happy, but who will get the house and what will we do with the kids
Mm.
and blah 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 blah. So that's a really hard one. And then when I did started that gala to raise money for abused children in Austin, the first 6 years were like, yay! It was so fun, and we're making so much money for the kids, and it was so creative. And you kind of repeat the same thing. It's like being in a Broadway show that just runs forever. And then year 7, 8, and 9 were good, and then 10, oh, we were going to do a 10-year. And I was just like not liking it very much anymore. I
Didn't
felt
light you up.
like, I felt like I was just repeating what I already had done, and it didn't feel creative. And I really felt bad about saying, let's have somebody else do this. But when I did, and it would wake me up at night for months, remember?
Oh,
Like,
yeah. It
just
woke me up too.
in turmoil. But then once I let it go and I said, you guys take everything that I've done and let it flourish, a whole dance studio took it over. So they could take what I did and distribute it amongst a whole dance studio. And, it's all, they're happy. They're still making a lot of money off of the show that I created. And other people are getting to experience that creative process. And I've put that energy into other things to be able to do what I'm doing in Satori, because the charity was taking up so much time. I wanted to put more time into creating Satori.
We're so grateful that you did. Isn't it been amazing?
But what that was a really big one for me, because my intuition was screaming, this, you don't fit in here anymore. This
Mm.
thing has gone a different direction. It was, when I took it on, it was very innocent, and after 10 years it made so much money it became very committee. There were lots of committees deciding very important decisions, and I'm like, you know nothing about production, and yet you're in a committee, so you're deciding. So I was always frustrated with that kind of thing. And um,
Yeah.
when that comes up again, I'm really going to. The reason I said that, once you turn right at the light and you've already turned right, don't listen to that voice that says, are you sure? Are you sure? and I'm going to make the decision and move forward faster. That really taught me that, rather than torture myself.
And the only thing that keeps us in that lane when something else is saying it's time to move on is this. We start weighing and considering and thinking and
Yeah.
like, oh, wait, let me see, let me compare and contrast and you get all
Yep.
up in your head about
Yep.
it and
'Cause
just go back.
This doesn't know what this knows, that there's something so much bigger and so much better and so much purposeful that needs you and wants you and is calling you, but you can't get there if you're still shackled to this other thing. But the brain can't feel that. It needs it's too logical. And that's where, my trust and my faith and my devotion is in the heart, not in the brain.
Well, and all that wisdom can be in the brain. It's the skewed mind that really interferes. It's the old programs that pull us off the heart center. Look, it's never hard work when it's heart work, right? When you're trusting the heart, it lights you up. And that's the key word, trust. Trust. Some people say, I don't know, is that really my heart? You'll know. Here's how you know. Remember I showed you the infinity? Because it feels good. It lights you up. Do you remember the light in the center of the map? It lights you up. There's no questioning. If you learn to meditate, get out your freaking head, get back in the heart and just listen. And you might have to be patient for a minute because this has been used to running the show and it's going to try to pull your attention back up here. You're not ready for that.
Yep.
Let the heart tell the mind what to think. It's a no-brainer. But for real, you got to learn to get out this thing and just really trust. There's a brain of your being. This is the no-brainer. The brain of your being is so freaking wise. It's what healed my back. It's what healed and created this relationship. It's what created the relationship with our first business partner online that opened many doors for us. This has never, ever, 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 ever lied. Because why? It's the soul center. It's the home. It's the heart hero. It's like, make this the goal.
Yep.
I want to land on this. For me, my last words on the show.
Well, you saved your last.
No, I got it.
Okay.
Are you sure?
Well, how does it feel?
It feels like I need to tell you something.
Okay.
So since Valentine's Day is in a couple days.
When is Valentine's Day?
The 14th of February.
Oh, very good.
Pretty good, huh?
Dad's birthday.
Not bad for a British kid. So I'm sitting here listening to Sabrina share tonight and spending this time with all of you, which I love. And I thought, not only how lucky am I, but how wonderful it is to be with a walking heart, a heart with legs. This is pure love and light. And so when you ask yourself why you're doing what you're doing and what's the impetus behind it, like when do you move on? I could never move on from this because this is pure love.
And I kill you.
I kill you. Oh, Facebook, we didn't mean it like that. YouTube, don't shut our video down. It's a joke. But I really am here to honor what love is when it manifests itself. And what I see in Sabrina is pure love because she chooses the heart. The reason I'm telling you this is Sabrina used to be a really awesome thinker, like person, still is. But I saw anxiety and I saw worry and I saw a little OCD and I saw places where she would get depressed when she would try to live that way. Mm-hmm. And through these energy arts and meditations, she's learned how to live from here.
Choose. Mm-hmm.
And I find that to be the most beautiful, wonderful, sexy, incredible state that someone could live from. And you're a walking, living, breathing example of what we teach. And I just freaking adore that you choose that and that you chose me. And so there's a heart coherence going on between these two people. And that's why this is called the Trisbrina Show.
Yeah. Well, I try. I always try to choose my heart.
You do it so beautifully. We all have moments, but one thing I know for sure is this one is always going to snap back to that. And I know myself enough that I'm 100% certain I will not forsake the heart.
I was on a bowling team because I'm really cool as a kid. And So, they taught us to, you hold the ball, you step back and you walk 1, 2, 3, 4, and you have follow through. And your thumb goes over the first of the little arrows and then the second of the arrows, and you hit the pin. And so I try to hold my heart right and my thoughts right and follow through. Sometimes I don't hit all the pins down, but that's why you also know how to get that one, because sometimes you get two. That's not called a strike. What's that one called? What's it called if it takes you two, like if you get 8 and then 2 pins? I know you color in half of the box instead of the whole box on the score sheet.
I'm not a big bowler.
You're not a big bowler. What's it called, guys? Anyway, what I'm saying is you're not going to get a strike every time.
It's a spare.
It's a spare. It's the
Joanna,
spare.
thank you, Joanna. Thank you, Sandy.
So
Save
that's
the moment.
That's the skills that you develop. You're like, didn't get a strike, okay, and throw again. Get those other 3, and just like turning that corner. And I keep saying this story because it's changed my life. Because I would always play reruns. If you turn the corner and you're going that direction, don't waste your life wondering if you turn the right way. Just say, which direction should I go now? Even if the choice is the direction I should go now is to make a U-turn, that feels completely different than I turned the wrong way. And that has soothed me and allowed me to stay in my heart.
So get to bowling, everybody, and you'll be fine.
What do you know about bowling?
I know how to throw it pretty hard.
Roll it. You don't throw it.
You don't throw it. See, I'm not a bowler. All right. Well, it's coming on. The Trisbrina Show music. Thank you for all the sweet shares that are coming through. I just adore this woman, and I know you guys know how much we adore you.
He's all right.
He's all right.
He's all right too.
We seriously, we've all come together in this little time and space because we're living from the heart. We wouldn't be hanging out if we weren't. It wouldn't be like vibration. But thank you for bringing love into our lives and giving us an opportunity to connect with such beautiful people. You guys are gorgeous.
We have such a great tribe.
We really do. All right, on that note, have a beautiful date night yourselves. See you soon. Bye now.